Now that Donald Trump is the official president-elect of the United States, confirmed, of course, by the Electoral College, the Republicans in Congress are beginning their plans to roll back LGBT rights. Now, NBC News is reporting that earlier this month, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas and Senator Mike Lee of Utah, through their spokespeople, told BuzzFeed that they plan to reintroduce something called the First Amendment Defense Act, or FADA, or FADA. I'll call it FADA. Now, look, this same piece of legislation was actually introduced back in 2015. However, it was shut down. Okay, they're like, get this shit out of here, man. We're not going to pass that crap, especially what was going on in Indiana with the religious freedom bills. But of course, since Donald Trump is now planning to take power along with the Republican-controlled Congress, the bill actually has a chance of passing into law, a much larger chance than he had before. Now, what would FADA do? Basically, what it would do is it would prohibit the federal government from taking any sort of, in their language, discriminatory action against any business or person that discriminates against the LGBTQ community. Now, the act distinctly aims to protect the rights of all entities that refuse service or protect their right to refuse service to LGBTQ people based on two different sets of beliefs. Now, one of them, of course, is that marriage should be between one man and one woman. So that's what they believe. And number two, which actually should piss people off that are outside of the LGBTQ community, sexual relations are properly reserved to such a marriage between a man and a woman. So basically what it's saying is that it's got two provisions that you can discriminate and refuse service on. One is you have to be in a marriage between one man and one woman. Okay, if you're in a same-sex marriage, well, I can discriminate against you. And the other one goes a lot further and basically goes after anybody who's had premarital sex or sex outside of marriage. So there goes the scope. Immediately, you're probably thinking, and I agree with you, that's insane. Really? Yeah, more moral policing. This bill is saying go ahead and refuse service because either you're gay and you're going to burn in hell, so we don't want to serve you, or you've been naughty and had sex outside of marriage and you're going to go to hell, so we're going to refuse to serve you. This is some Taliban level shit. What's going on here? And of course, Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, Republicans, they want to bring this shit back. Of course they do. Now, more details. And now, apparently, the language of the bill positions the right to discriminate against one class of Americans as their First Amendment rights. So they're enshrining protections into the Constitution for people who want to discriminate against other people based on religion. It also bans the government from taking any form of action to curb that discrimination, including withholding federal funds from institutions that decide they want to discriminate. So now, basically, what the government's going to do is still have to fund any institution that decides they want to discriminate based on religion, which, of course, is wildly unconstitutional. Okay. Now, FADA also allows individuals, of course, to sue individuals and businesses to sue the federal government for interfering in their right to discriminate against LGBTQ Americans, and would mandate the Attorney General to defend such businesses. Now, look, we know the Attorney General pick for Donald Trump is Jeff Sessions. Jeff Sessions is an unabashed bigot. Okay? He loves discriminating against them gay people and African Americans. So look, good luck, LGBT folks. Under Donald Trump, you're going to end up seeing more state-sanctioned discrimination. Fantastic. Now, some of you might be wondering, yeah, but look, it was brought up in 2015. How do you know it's actually going to pass? Well, I don't, be fair. But look, Senator Lee, for example, he seems really, really optimistic. In fact, on December 9th, Lee's spokesperson, Con Carroll, told BuzzFeed that the election of Trump had essentially cleared a path for the passage of FADA. In fact, he said, he or she, Carol, can't really tell. Hopefully November's results will give us the momentum we need to get this done next year. We do plan to reintroduce FADA at the next Congress, and we welcome Trump's positive words about the bill. Fantastic. Look, so there is a chance, but along with that chance of being passed, it also has a huge chance of being challenged. In fact, one of the people that are looking to challenge this bill, if it does become law, is somebody named Jennifer Pizer. Now, she is the law and policy director at Lambda Legal. Now, she talked to NBC News and said that FADA basically, quote, invites widespread devastating discrimination against LGBT people and is a deeply unconstitutional bill. She said this proposed new law violates both equal protection and the Establishment Clause by elevating one set of religious beliefs above all others, and by targeting LGBT Americans as a group, contrary to settled constitutional law. So she goes on to continue, there cannot even be one iota of doubt that this bill endorses one set of religious beliefs above others and targets people in same-sex relationships, married or not, as well as unmarried heterosexual couples who live together, or people basically living in sin. Now, I'm married now, but for a while, I was living in sin. Now, if we had something like FADA that had passed earlier, during that time, I could have been refused service. What was then my girlfriend could have been refused service. So that's how it impacts people who are not just gay. This is an attack on everybody's freedom. Okay, and look, here we go. What is it with Republicans' fascination with controlling the sex lives of other people? I've never quite understood that. You know, I got a good example for you of besides this law is Ken Cuccinelli. Remember that guy? Well, he tried running for governor in Virginia. He was the Attorney General of Virginia, and one of his big campaign promises is, "I'm going to ban blowjobs." You're going to ban blowjobs. You actually ran on this. Unsurprisingly, the guy got his ass kicked. He got his cleaned during the election. Because no one in their right fucking mind would be like signing on to ban blowjobs. Like, oh, you know what? That sounds like a great idea. Let's ban oral sex for everybody. And ironically, behind the scenes, most of these guys are the same ones that are like,
I like my meat tight.
And
tighten up my meat.
Sometimes in a bathroom stall. I'm just saying, with a wide stance. So these people, they're hypocritical. Now, I had Ron Placone on the show yesterday, and he was talking about how these people basically want other people to be miserable and to not be able to do these things. That's why they want to control people's sex life, because, hey, I'm miserable. I'm not getting any, so I don't want anybody else to get any. Because, misery loves company.
Believe me.
And that's essentially what it is. But anyway, look, Donald Trump, the Republicans, they won, and it looks like this is one of their priorities. It's not jobs, it's not health care, it's not a better economy. No, what it is that it's policing your sex life under the guise of religious liberty. Liberty. Okay? And if Trump signs it, the guy is deeply hypocritical, as he is likely to have had sex outside of marriage. Hell, the guy's been married like several times. He is not the person to turn to if you're really concerned about the sanctity of marriage. I'm just saying. Now, of course, the bill, get this, more information here. It's currently sponsored by 171 House Republicans. That's not surprising. And one Democrat. Now, this Democrat is named Daniel Lipinski of Illinois. Again, I'm not surprised by the Republicans, but there's a Democrat that's co-sponsored this bill. You know what we need to do to this guy? Kick him the fuck out of the party. I'm not kidding. Get this fucking bigot out of the goddamn Democratic Party into the Republican Party. We don't need people like this in the Democrats. Okay? Don't. Get him the fuck out. You know what we need to do to him?
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me
Get
out
out. Get out. Get out. We got to start kicking these assholes out of the party. They do not belong here. Now, back to Pizer here. Now, she had one more thing to add here, given the blatant unconstitutionality of this bill. She said, if Congress were to pass the federal FADA as currently written, and the next president were to sign it into law, I'm confident heads would spin at how fast the constitutional challenges would fly into court. She also adds that we're likely to have a great many allies because these attempts to misuse religion for discrimination offend enormous numbers of Americans who cherish both religious liberty and equality for all. And that's, of course, why a lot of these bills that were similar bills, I should say, that were introduced in even Republican states were shot down. You've seen a lot of religious liberty bills that were along the lines of this FADA bill get crushed. So, look, red states, even Republicans are like, this goes too far. Okay? But again, these Republican politicians, they really only bend over to extremists. Okay? That's who they cater to. The very, very extreme. They don't even fall into the mainline Republican Party. They follow the social conservatives along the lines of Ted Cruz. So, and Mike Lee and just all the crazy far-right Republicans. But anyway. Also, I got to give a warning. We're going to have, Donald Trump's going to have a Supreme Court pick. So even if this makes it to the court and is unconstitutional, that doesn't necessarily mean that whoever's in the Supreme Court is going to rule it that way. So, so look, anyway, despite that, good luck, Republicans. If you try to pass this, you're in for a fight. You're in for a fight, man. You know why? Because we're coming for you. Okay? We're coming for you. And actual freedom, it may be set back for a while, but actual freedom will prevail. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.